All right, what is up, Utes fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest. And the Utes have picked up another transfer in cornerback Miles Battle. The guy is 6'4", a little over 200 pounds, long, tall, physical, rangy corner. I mean, a guy that brings a lot to the table. So, just to start off, he was a 4-star prospect out of high school, but not at corner, actually, a wide receiver. Played a couple years at wide receiver for Ole Miss before transitioning to cornerback. So, kind of a guy that when you look at that one, you got to be a very good athlete to be a 4-star wide receiver and go play in the SEC. But two, that means when he's handling jump balls, going up for contested catches with wide receivers and stuff like that, he has an advantage over a lot of corners. It's a good thing to know. And the other thing we can take some solace in with Miles Battle is this guy is proven, experienced, lots of reps in the SEC, has gone against some of the best receivers in the country. How he did against those receivers, we'll look at here in a minute. We'll break down some of the PFF grades and talk about that. But he's a really high upside player, guys, a guy that could really bring a lot to Utah if everything works out. So you should be excited. Over the past couple seasons at corner, 55 total tackles, 14 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. And the big one for me is that 14 pass breakups. That means more almost every game he's getting a play where he gets in there and breaks up the pass on a receiver. I think a lot of the time that stat goes unnoticed, but it's really one of the big ones. I mean, if you're really really good at coverage, they don't get thrown at all, right? But that's unrealistic. When they do throw at your guys, do you make a statement? Do you make them regret it and get in there and break it up? Also, the 2 interceptions in the SEC, can't be mad about that. There's a highlight that I was able to find of Miles Battle in the Baylor game where he makes a nice one-handed interception when they try to throw a jump ball on him. So that was really nice. But that's the guy. We're going to go ahead and dive into the PFF grades, take a deeper dive into Miles Battle. He very good player. And like I said, a lot of upside. I think that's what we're banking on with Miles Battle, what he could bring to this team. If everything works out, he could be a big playmaker. And before we go ahead and dive into all that, guys, please make sure you guys like the video. Also, comment below. What do you guys think of Miles Battle? Is he an immediate starting corner for us on the outside? Oh, that's another thing. His reps are really on the outside. He's not like a slot corner. He has a lot of reps on the outside, and we'll go ahead and we'll address that. He a really good player, but anyway. So, and if you haven't already, guys, if you're a Utah football fan, this is the spot for you. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, guys, and here he is, Miles Battle. These are the PFF grades. So 2018, he was playing wide receiver. 2019, again playing wide receiver. 2020 is where he first starts getting reps on defense. A 74.8 grade. It's a very good grade. To be fair, it wasn't a limited sample size. In 2021, he started to get more reps and become, more of a, full-time starter or, be in every game quite a bit, and that's where he gets a 71.6. Then in 2022, and a 71.6 is pretty damn good. In 2022, he's getting a lot of snaps as well, but not quite as good of a grade as the previous 2 years. What I do want to point out, though, and it's a below average grade, it's not a bad grade in a 61.1, but you'd like a little better. What I do want to show you guys, though, is right here. So in 2022, he played 332 snaps at wide cornerback. That means he's out there covering X wide receivers. He's out there covering, big play SEC wide receivers, one on one, not always man coverage, but that means the opportunity for it is there, and you're going to have to make plays and you're going to have to make things happen. Now, I really like that because that means that this guy has gone against the cream of the crop and proven himself and did enough in practice to be a starting SEC corner and go out there and get reps out wide. That's a big deal, guys. There's not a lot of people that can say that. So definitely a guy that's good to be bringing in. The other thing I do want to point out is going to be right over here. So you look at these grades. Now, think about Mahmoud Diabate and Lavani Damuni. There's a trend. I'm starting to notice this with transfers that Utah brings in. It's guys that had a down year, just like Miles Battle, but had previous very good years, right? Like they saw that there is something in there. They've shown, they've shined, and they've looked good before, but something happened to kind of knock them out of that. And I think Utah targets these guys specifically because they see him and say, well, I can get that out of you. I've seen it before. We've got the best coaches in the country at Utah, and we really do. I mean, player development, there's not many places like this, and you can see why they wanted Miles Battle. So I would feel good if I were you guys as a guy that can go outside, play out wide at cornerback, and is graded very well in doing so. Just a down year, and I'm sure that's kind of part of why he's leaving Ole Miss. I mean, I don't know all the details, but now let's go ahead and look at the various game breakdowns from these years and talk about how Miles Battle is done in different matchups against different teams in the SEC. And guys, that's the cream of the crop. We're gonna get to see PFF grades with this guy covering some of the best receivers in the NFL right now, like NFL receivers right now that are some of the best. So let's take a look. All right, guys, and here is the 2020 season for Miles Battle according to the PFF grade. So in total, we're only looking at 108 snaps here, right? So you got to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. But I want to look at the three, let's just look at the four games. So the game where he had 13 snaps, 17 snaps, 27 snaps, and 39, right? One thing I really like is in general, his tackling grade is quite high, right? He seems to tackle very well when he gets the opportunity. You guys heard the stat earlier. He had 55 tackles over the two seasons in 2021 and 2022. Some really good coverage grades against some pretty good teams. I mean, like team like Auburn, maybe Vanderbilt's not great, but Auburn, they bring in a lot of talent, and for him to be putting up a 71.8, and Indiana in 2020, not the worst team in the world. And he put up a 67.5 coverage grade and some overall good grades. I don't think 2020 tells us a ton about him, but you can see the upside is there. Again, that's only 108 snaps. So 2021 will give us a much better sample size. Let's go ahead and look at that. So this is the 2021 grade for Miles Battle. All right. So 2021, you take a look at Miles Battle here. This is organized by number of snaps in each game. Vanderbilt, 72 snaps. So he has a lot of reps against Vanderbilt. Not the greatest grade in the world in the 63.1. Kind of struggled in coverage, but again, really good tackling. It's kind of a trend with this guy. He's a good tackler. It's kind of weird. You guys can look down the list here. He has games where he tackles really well and games where he doesn't tackle well at all, but some of them are low snap counts. So take a look at Mississippi State and Tennessee, another situation where you're playing teams with a lot of good talent. A 78.8 coverage grade against Tennessee. That's really good. 77.1 coverage grade against Arkansas. Struggled tackling against Arkansas and a run defense, but Arkansas is a really good running team. I'm sure there's lots of people that struggled in coverage against Arkansas. And what I also like, guys, if you notice these games with the good coverage grades in Tennessee and Mississippi State, you can see his total number of coverage snaps in 41 and 29. And this is a season where he played 360 snaps, guys. And this was kind of the breakout year for him. So we look at this. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with a 67.4 or higher defensive grade and 4 games with a 70 or higher grade. So some really good things in here. Against Alabama, didn't do super well, or Baylor, Texas A&M. So kind of hot and cold in games, but the talent is there. You can see what he's capable of. He has good games from time to time against very good teams. Now, 2022, grade wise, a little bit of a down year, but again, the upside's there, guys. 375 snaps, so 15 more snaps than 2021. That's a lot of snaps. I mean, that's like 30 something snaps a game. That's a lot of snaps for this guy. And you could tell there are some games where they use him more than others, but either way, defensive grade 74.2 against Central Arkansas. This is the big one for me. This past year in 2022, a 72.6 defensive grade against Alabama, and that's on 64 snaps. A 70.2 coverage grade, covering very good wide receivers. An 83.4 tackling grade against Alabama. That's awesome. So you guys can take a look here. I hope this kind of breaks it all down for you guys. But the guy's got a lot. You can see at the bottom of the screen here, these are like the total grades for the season. The biggest difference is in 2020 and 2021, he did really good in coverage, not so good this year, but good in run defense this year. But like I said, you guys should be excited. The upside with this guy is really there. He's shown it in the SEC. He just needs consistent coaching and a family that can bring it out of him. Um, once we get him in here. All right, guys, and I put his Twitter up on the screen here at Miles Battle too. He seems like a guy. I saw some quotes in an article about Miles Battle. Seems like a great guy. Seems like a guy that has a ton of upside. When I look at Miles Battle and why he was brought in here, is they see a lot of what he's done and the flashes he's made and see the upside in this kid, right? There's a lot there. And with that height, that ability, I mean, imagine having him and Zamaya Vaughn at our two corners next year. If we can make this work with Miles Battle, I mean, that'd be a big deal. It'd be tough for teams to throw on us with these two guys up there to break up the passes. Like I said, make sure you guys give him a follow. And he's shown the flashes. I think if we can channel it and we can get it out of him, I think that's also why he's choosing Utah over some of the other programs that wanted him. I think he wants to come to Utah. He wants to get that top tier coaching. He wants to compete for championships, right? And he wants to develop as a player to get to the NFL. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure you guys drop a like. Also, comment down below. Again, what do you guys think of Miles Battle? Immediate starter? What are your thoughts? And then make sure if you guys are big Utah football fans, you subscribe to the channel. Outside of that, I'm out. Go Utes.